Hi friends, and welcome back to my channel. I am so happy you're here. We're gonna pick my August TBR with my TBR prompter today. I had such a good reading month in July. I read like 26 books. I don't know how, but I was in such a big reading mood. But I fear I'm slowly getting into a reading slump. I haven't been in the mood to read anything the past few days, so hopefully we're going to draw a few good prompts to read some books that will get me out of this slump. I am going to move 2 of the books I had on my July TBR to my August TBR because I've been wanting to film a summer reading vlog, but the weather in Germany has been so bad. It's been raining non-stop for weeks, and I wanted to feel like summer to film a summer reading vlog. So I'm going to move Love Me Do by Lindsay Kelk and also Problematic Summer Romance by Ali Hazelwood to my August TBR. Fingers crossed that the weather is gonna get better and I can finally film my video. If you want to hear more about these books, I've talked about them in my last TBR video. But since I'm not in the biggest mood to read right now, I'm not gonna pick a lot of prompts today. I think I'm gonna keep it down to 5, but I'm still really excited. This is always so fun. Let's pick our first prompt. The first prompt is the shortest book I own. That is a very good prompt, considering that I'm not in the mood to read. I'm gonna pick all of my prompts first and then check my TBR for books that match the prompts. So we're gonna immediately pick our second one. A book that includes cooking. That's also a pretty good one. The third prompt is a Friends to Lovers book. Then we have a book with the word off in the title. And last but not least, the final prompt is a spicy book. I think we have some pretty good prompts, so I'm gonna check my TBR and get back to you once I have picked a book for every prompt. I am so happy with all of the books I picked out, so let's go through them. For the prompt, the shortest book I own, I have Powerful by Lauren Roberts. This had about 230 pages, 240. And this is part of the Powerless trilogy. This follows Adina, who's Peyton's best friend. Peyton is the main character in the series. And in the first book, Peyton gets picked to participate in some trials. So now Adina is on her own and she ends up meeting a man and she teams up with him to see Peyton in the trials. We didn't get to know a lot of her in the first book, but she seemed like a really interesting character, so I'm very excited to pick this up and then continue the series. For the prompt, a book that includes cooking, I picked Taste of Love by Poppy J. Anderson. I'm not sure if she's a German author, but I bought this on sale years ago and it has been on my TBR ever since. This follows Andrew, who's a chef in Boston, but he's pretty burned out from his job. And on a short trip to Maine, he meets Brooke. I don't really know a lot more about this book, but I think it's just a contemporary romance centered around food and cooking. So I think this is gonna be a cute read. I generally love books about cooking and baking, and I don't read a lot of them. I really should read more of them. For the prompt, Friends to Lovers, I'm gonna read Next to You by Hannah Bonham Young. I've read Out on a Limb and Out of the Woods the past few weeks, and I was so obsessed with them. I love Hannah Bonham Young's writing style. So I also got Next to You and Next of Kin. And since Next to You is a Friends to Lovers romance, I picked out this one for my August TBR. This follows Lane, who's in the middle of an identity crisis. She's not really happy with her life while all of her friends are getting married and being adults, which is why she makes this impulsive decision to buy an old school bus. But since she has no renovation experience whatsoever, she gets help by her friend Matt, who's a mechanic. But since Matt is this family guy who wants to settle down, have kids, and Lane is really afraid of commitment, they settled on just being friends. But since this is a Friends to Lovers book, I'm sure that they somehow figure things out. I can't wait to pick this one up. For the prompt, a book with the word off in the title, I'm gonna read King of Pride by Anna Huang. I read King of Wrath, which is the first book in the series, 2 weeks ago, and I loved it so much, so I definitely want to continue the series as soon as possible. This is a steamy billionaire romance, and it follows Kai and Isabella, who are quite the opposite from each other, but they somehow still can't stay away from each other. It's also a forbidden romance, so it has a lot of good tropes. And like I said, I enjoyed the first part so much, so I'm sure that I'm gonna love this as well. And then for the prompt, a spicy book, I'm gonna read Caught Up by Navessa Allen. I also read the first book in this series not too long ago, and I loved Lights Out so much. It was so fun. I don't usually read a lot of dark romance books, but I think I should because this was so good. I'm curious to see how this is gonna go. This is set in the same world but with different characters. There's Wallace Jr., who's in the mafia and pretty much a walking red flag, and about Lauren, who's this shy, bookish girl, so it's also an opposites attract trope. And I think it's also a second chance romance because it says on the back that Junior has broken Lauren's heart before in high school. I'm usually not the biggest fan of second chance, but I'm optimistic that I'm still gonna enjoy this. So these are all of the books I picked for my August TBR. I'm excited for every single one of them, and I'm very optimistic that they're gonna get me out of my reading slump. If you have picked out any books for your August TBR, I would love to talk about it in the comments. I really hope you enjoyed watching this video, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!